Hello there! This video is going to show you how to use Microsoft Excel 2016 to create line charts and Ogives for longitudinal or time series data. So the data that you're looking at comes from McGregor Vineyards, and they own and operate a winery in the Sonoma Valley in Northern California. And at a recent company meeting, the financial manager expressed concerns about the company's profit trend over the past 20 weeks. And they asked him to present data to back up those concerns. And here is the raw data, and we're going to generate some nice pictures with this data, some nice graphs that he could present to his management personnel. So let's take a look at this. Each row here represents a week, and we have 20 weeks of data collection. And then here in column B, you see the sales, and here in column C, you see the profits. So most of you are business students, you realize that sales and profits aren't necessarily the same exact thing, right? Sometimes you have costs that are going to get in the way of that profit. So looking at both of those together is really important. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you to do is to create a line chart for sales. So let's go ahead and just take the week in sales, Control C to copy. Let's put that over here. And actually, you know what? Let's create a whole new tab for sales. S-A-L-E-S, sales. Hit enter. Control V to paste that data that I copied. So let's go ahead and highlight our data. And then we're going to go up to Insert. And we're going to select the scatter option, but we're going to select the option that has the lines with the little bubble. So scatter with straight lines and markers right there. All right, so this looks good. Let's go ahead and do some formatting though. Let's get rid of this title up here. Let's go ahead and add our axis titles. So make sure under Chart Tools you select Design. Those won't be there unless you've clicked on your graph, so make sure you click on your graph first. Then you'll see Design, Add Chart Element, Horizontal, and then a vertical axis. So here we're going to put week, and then over here we're going to put sales. All right, that was simple. By looking at this, you can see that across time there's an upward trend with little dips here and there, but for the most part it's going upward. And you can clearly see that week 17 right about here, has the highest sales overall. You can see that in this table as well. All right, so now let's go ahead and create a line chart for profit. So let's go back. Well, let's go ahead and create a tab, double click, label it profit. Go back to our data, and we're going to grab the week, hold down Control so you can select two different columns that are not next to each other, and then hit Control C to copy. You'll see the happy line. This is what we've selected. Let's go to our Profit tab, Control V to paste. So let's do the same thing we did before, where we've got our data highlighted. We go to Insert, choose the scatter option, but with the lines with the little dots, and you can see there's multiple different ways that you could do this, but this is the one I usually choose. And let's make the same edits as before. Let's get rid of this heading title. Under Design tabs, we're going to add our axis titles. Okay, this is going to be week, and then over here, now we're looking at profit. All right, so this is kind of a disturbing trend. Check it out. Although sales appear to be increasing, profit not so much, right? There's a little bounce back here around week 18 or so, but then it's in a slump, and it's really bad in week 20, which is the last day of data collection. So I'd be interested in collecting more data to see if this trend continues. It's pretty disturbing. Something that's bothering me about this is that this goes on to 25, but our last data point is 20. So let's go ahead and click on these values, then right-click, Format Axis, and let's assign this to end at 20. There, that's better. And we'll close that down. Let's do the same thing for sales. So click on the Sales tab, then you want to click on the values for week, right-click, Format Axis, and let's stop at 20 because that's the last day or the last week in our data collection. All right, so let's say that we actually want to look at these two things in the same line graph. So we want to plot them together so we can look at the trends simultaneously in one single graph. So now let's go to our data and let's select all of this right here. Control C to copy. Let's name this tab Sales and Profit. Okay, and Control V to paste. So now we are going to create a line chart, but we're going to do it for both of our variables and the week. So we'll highlight all this good stuff here. We're going to go up to Insert, Scatter again, and we'll select this right here. Let's go ahead and make some edits real quick. Let's get rid of this thing that says Chart Title, and let's add some axes labels. So we've got our Design tab here, add our chart element, horizontal, and vertical. This, again, is week. And before I label this, I want to point something out that's disturbing me, other than the fact that this goes to 20 again. So let's fix that. Right click, click the numbers, right click, Format Axis, and this at 20. All right. So this is problematic. Notice that profit looks flat. And that's because the default axis is for sales here. So we could call this sales. Now it's problematic, right? Because most of the profits are relatively small, especially compared to sales. So with this type of graph, yeah, we want to have both variables displayed at the same time, but it's not doing profit any favors. You can't really see the variation in profit, and you certainly can't see the relationship between the two because the range of these values is just so different. Sales values are much, much higher than profit. So I'm going to show you how to use Excel to represent the true trend in data by having two vertical axes, one that represents sales and then another that represents profit. So what you need to do is click on your chart and then go to Format, then choose Format Selection. So again, make sure you click your chart, under Chart Tools, Format, Format Selection. Then under Chart Options, you're going to select Series Profit. And you're going to go to Series Options, this little thing that looks like a bar graph, and you're going to click Secondary Axis. Oh, it's so beautiful. All right, let me close this out, add a data label, and then we'll talk about the trends in the data. So now, under the Chart Tools, make sure this is selected, Design tab, I'm going to add a chart element, Axis Title, Secondary Vertical is now an option. So we'll click there, and here we'll type profit. So now you can clearly see in one cohesive line graph or line chart, whatever you want to say, that although sales are increasing, profits are decreasing. So we can now really see that the profits are headed downhill even though the sales are up, and there's some reason that's happening here. Why are costs rising faster than revenues? So this graph could really motivate McGregor Vineyards to look into this problem to see maybe why costs are so high that's mitigating the increase in sales and still decreasing the profit. This is so pretty. I love it so much. Okay, you can also play with the formatting if you want to. You can change the colors. You can kind of do whatever you want once you get to this point, but I think it looks good for now. All right, so now let's shift our focus to ogives. Oh boy. And we're going to look at an ogive for sales and an ogive for profit separately. So I'm going to save this. And now let's go ahead and pop over to Sales tab. All right, so we've got this here. Let's kind of scooch it over. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this over. So we're going to do something else with this data. So Control C to copy, go over here, Control V to paste. So what I need to do, because I'm creating an ogive now, and remember an ogive looks at the cumulative increase across time, so we need to create a new column that's looking at cumulative frequencies. Now because our data is not in a pivot chart, it's not going to give us an option to just do a roll or running total. So we're going to have to do this using formulas in Excel, but I'll show you how to make this pretty simple so that you don't have to go through and add all these up across the board. All right, let's do this. So let's say cumulative sales. Oh, it's driving me crazy. It's not the same format. So I'm going to click this, Home tab, click Format Painter, click on the cell, and voila. Let's double click between M and N to make it the same size, and let's highlight and make sure it's centered. Oh, it is. Good. Okay. So for the first one, remember, cumulative means basically, if we're looking at this, the cumulative sales tell you how much sales happened at or before that time period. So since week 1 is our first time period, we're just going to copy over whatever we had in week 1. Oh, that doesn't match either. It's making me crazy. Highlight this, format painter, and let's apply that to all these cells. Oh, so nice. It even applied the currency option. If you need to change it to manually make it look like currency, you can right click, go to format cells, currency, and then however many decimal places that you want. Okay, so now let me show you how to generate the cumulative sales with a formula that you're going to copy down. So you're going to go equals, you're going to click the cell just above. So in this case, since we're doing week 2, we're going to click the cumulative sales for week 1, plus, so just add a plus sign, the sales for the week 2 that you actually care about, and hit enter. Now we're going to copy this formula down. Not this one though, you don't want to start here because remember we just kind of copied this over. We want to start here where we're actually adding those up. So we're going to grab this little box down here, make sure a little plus sign pops up, and we're going to drag it down. If that doesn't work for you, another option is to highlight that value down and go to fill down. Now just to make sure this worked, we're going to add up all these values and make sure that it equals this. So I'm going to put equals, SUM for sum, double click the word sum, and then just highlight all these numbers. Hey, it matches. All right, we didn't screw up. That's exciting. All right, so just looking at this, we can see that in week 9, all the sales week 9 and before equal 368,300. If we look at week 10 or before, we're at $454,800 in sales. So that's what the cumulative sales tell you. So then we end up with the total sales in week 20 because there's no weeks after 20, so that's where we end. All right, now let's generate an ogive for sales. Now to do this, we have to get rid of the sales column. So if I delete this, watch what happens though. Oh no, right? It freaks out. So we're going to undo up here, and we are going to copy this. We're going to go over here. Now don't just paste it because it's going to mess up the formulas if you do that. You're going to want to go to home, and then under paste, click the little arrow, and paste values. There we go. Now I'm going to fix this real quick. So what's our format here? Arial 16. We're going to do Arial 16. And let's, like I showed you earlier, turn these into numbers that look like money. So we'll click the first one, go down to the bottom, hold Shift, click the last one, right click, format cells, and go to currency. And we don't need decimal places. These are nice whole numbers. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, here we go. I get excited about stats. All right, scoot over. Let's double click here. All right, now we can make a line graph the same way as before, but now it's going to be an ogive because we're looking at cumulative sales. So let's highlight this, go up to Insert, Scatter, and let's use this right here. Let's scoot this over. There we go. All right, just like we did before, we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to add under Design tab, horizontal and vertical axis titles. And I'm going to fix this real quick. So click here, right click, format axis. We end at week 20, you punk. Quit it. There we go. Cool. So here, we're going to put week. And here, we're not just going to put sales, we're going to put cumulative sales. So here you can just see sales are ever increasing, and you end up at the end of the day around $900,000 in sales, and that's reflected right here. So this would be an ogive for that. All right, now let's take a look at profit. So let's scooch this over. Let's copy this data. So Control C to copy over here, Control V to paste. and we're going to do our cumulative profit over here. So, cumulative profit. We're going to format paint this. So, click on this, click Format Painter under the Home tab, and click right here. And then we're going to do some math. Oop, let's double click so that it fits. Awesome. And let's look at this. Oh yeah, it's centered, so we're good. All right. So again, equals. We just want this to copy over. Ooh, look, it kept the formatting. That's cool. All right, now we're going to do the thing we did before. We go equals the cumulative profit for the week before plus the cumulative profit for the week of interest. And then we're just going to click on that cell, not this one. Get the little plus sign at the bottom right or use the fill feature. And we're going to go all the way down here. Now the font's not the same, so let's do this and format paint and just go all the way down. Yeah, cool. Okay, just to check to make sure this worked correctly, we're going to go equals SUM for sum, double click sum, highlight all this good stuff here, enter. Oh yeah, we're good to go. Awesome. Okay, so now we've got our cumulative profit, and this is a little misleading, right? Look at this. If you just look at cumulative profit, it's like, oh yeah, we're making more money. Well, yeah, you're making more money because there's more sales coming in, but it doesn't really reflect that the fact that you're actually making less profit on certain weeks, right? So the decision of which type of graph to show is really important. I would say, in this case, if you're really interested in total sales overall, that's fine. But whenever you have a situation where you're having decreases in your values, Ogives aren't the greatest thing to display that. This really shows that downward trend. But as you'll see in a second, this ogive isn't really going to show the decrease in sales. But I want to show you how to do it anyway. All right, so just as before, we're going to take week and cumulative profit. Again, I'm just clicking this, holding Shift to click this. Control C to copy, go over here, and we're going to paste under the Home tab, values. And it's 16-point font. I'm not doing the format painter because I'm afraid it's going to mess things up. I'm just being overly cautious. Bold that, and let's turn these into currency. Right click, format cells, currency, 0 decimal. Awesome. All right, we're almost there. Let's create our ogive. I'm going to highlight this data, go to Insert, Scatter, and we're going to select this and scooch it over here. Get rid of this title here. We're going to go up to the Design tab. We're going to add horizontal, add vertical. Let's fix this real quick. So click on the numbers along the x-axis. Format it. 20 is the last week in our data set. Thank you very much. And let's change this axis title to week. And then this is going to be cumulative profit. You can see here, it doesn't really show those dips in how much sales are being generated, but it does show that overall you end up with a cumulative profit of about like 72 grand, 74-ish at the end of week 20. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed learning about line graphs and ogives in Microsoft Excel and that you use these tools in the future.